Good evening and welcome to our broadcast tonight. We want to talk to you about CODA. CODA stands for Children of Deaf Adults. We're talking about people or children who constantly have to straddle between two different worlds. Worlds that are so distinct, worlds of a cultural difference, social difference, and even linguistic difference. Children who have sometimes to be bridges between their parents who are deaf and the hearing world, the deaf world and the hearing world. We're talking about this bridge in the middle, these children of deaf adults, CODA. That's our topic tonight. It's an element of our society that requires attention but receives very little of it. We have with us 4 people tonight who exist in this quandary, this dichotomy, this dilemma, and this challenge. And that will be the topic of our conversation this evening on Insight Tonight. But for now, as always, on the Daily Report, we start with a glimpse of what we have in store for you this evening in the news. The highlights. Tonight, a Kenya Airways plane from Nairobi to Heathrow, London, intercepted by the Royal Air Force fighters and diverted to Stansted Airport over a potential security threat. And the High Court dismisses petition challenging lifting of GMO ban in Kenya, asking Kenyans to have faith in public institutions. And Interior CS Kithure Kindiki makes a passionate appeal on why Kenya should deploy officers in Haiti.
This mission shall not cost the expenditure of any funds by the Kenyan government because it is a UN-funded mission.
Amid sharp disagreements from the opposition. And BBI 2 looms after Ruto and Raila dialogue team proposed the creation of a Prime Minister's post and 2 deputies 17 days to the talks deadline.
We foresee us being able to conclude this process in due course.
We are going to be able to reach consensus on all the issues.
Wherever it is that you're joining us from, I wish to thank you for choosing us to inform you this evening. And I thank you for this, even as I ask you to join us in this conversation tonight. Let us know what you think, let us know what you feel, your views and reviews on the news. The SMS line is open, 22047 is the SMS line. You can also talk to us through our social media platforms at TV47KE, at Muyakane on Twitter, or X as they call it these days, and I'll be happy to sample your feedback live on air. This evening, I'm joined by Catherine Simaloy, our sign language anchor tonight. And with that out of the way, shall we begin? And in our news tonight, the Kenyan High Court has today, Thursday, asked Kenyans to trust the institutions that we have in place as a country, even as it's through the Environment and Land Judge Oscar Angote dismissed a case filed by the Law Society of Kenya challenging the cultivation and importation of genetically modified crops, or GMO. And as Grace Kuriakanja now tells us, Judge Angote ruled that the court had not been shown any evidence to show that the respondents and the institutions named have breached the laws, regulations and guidelines pertaining to genetically modified food. Here's the story.
We should be confident that our health and environment is in good hands. It cannot be true that they have all conspired to expose the rest of the population to the calamities alluded to in the petition, at least not from the evidence on record. Not my words, but those of Judge Oscar Angote, who Thursday dismissed a case filed against GMO in the country. They, in that case, being the respondents, namely the Attorney General, National Biosafety Authority, NEMA, and the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization. See, in October 2022, the government lifted a decade-old ban on GMO crops in response to dwindling food security following the worst drought to ravage Kenya in 40 years. It is then that the Law Society of Kenya swiftly launched a court challenge, arguing the decision was unconstitutional as there were concerns over the safety of the crops. And Thursday, Judge Oscar said in response to the concerns raised by LSK that, among other things, as to whether the public participation before the Cabinet dispatch of October 2022, I have not been shown any law or authority that requires the Cabinet to engage the public before arriving at its decisions. In any event, there was no public participation before the ban of GMOs was imposed by the Cabinet in the year 2012. The court also said that it is its finding that the allegation that the cultivation, importation and exportation of GMO maize is being undertaken without an EIA license was prematurely made, the said project having not commenced. Judge Oscar further said that the evidence before the court shows that the National Biosafety Authority has the capacity in the identification of foods that should be subject to risk assessment and recommend appropriate approaches to safety assessment. A similar case was last year filed at the Constitutional and Human Rights Division by a lobby group identified as Kenya Peasants League. In this case, Justice Mugure Thande barred the government from gazetting any directives regarding GMOs or acting on the Cabinet dispatch that announced the lifting of the ban on GMOs. Grace Kuriakanja, TV47.
Now, if you've been paying attention to the news happening across your world this evening, you would undoubtedly have heard about this. So we'll give you what we know so far. A Kenya Airways flight from Nairobi to London has reportedly been escorted to another airport, apart from the main airport of Heathrow, after being diverted due to a potential security threat. The Royal Air Force jets are believed to have escorted the flight to this other airport of Stansted, while emergency services were scrambled to this airport. That's a story that is developing. We shall be able to give you all the latest on this story as and when we have it. Right. Elsewhere, tension is high in Loruk and Kosile areas of Baringo South in Baringo County. This is after bandits shot and killed 2 people following a cattle raid while they were grazing. One person was killed yesterday in Loruk area and the other one was killed this afternoon, in Kosile area. There has been heavy gunfire between the bandits who have regrouped and unleashed terror on the residents and the local National Police Reserves, the NPRS, who have been deployed to restore calm in the area. Eric Matika informs us of more.
A somber mood has engulfed the Loruk and Kosile areas of Baringo South in Baringo County after 2 people were killed by suspected bandits while grazing their livestock. In an earlier incident, the deceased who was herding livestock was ambushed by bandits and was later found with gunshot wounds on the left side of the chest, his body dumped in the bush. Baringo Police Commander Julius Kirangu, confirming the incident on phone, said he has deployed police to restore calm and order in the area.
Unfortunately, my herdsboy by the name Christopher is the one who was lost, whom we've lost. The body was found at around 2 o'clock today. Now we see that this is becoming a trend whereby we are losing young men all the time to bandits.
Na tuseme jana peke yake, mara kwa mara watu wetu huwa na wawanga.
There has been heavy gunfire in the area between the local NPR and the bandits, who have regrouped and have been unleashing terror to residents who had enjoyed a relative peace for the last 6 months, with businesses remaining closed as residents fear for their safety. However, religious leaders have asked residents not to retaliate in order to avoid further conflicts.
Tunasema kwa hiyo familia poleni sana na tunaomba watu wote regardless, yani kutoka community zote tutulize amani na tujaribu kutafuta amani na kila moja.
This occurs as President William Ruto today sent a stern warning to bandits in Turkana County, noting that the government is ramping up security operations in the county and its environs to combat cattle rustling. At the same time, Turkana County Governor Jeremiah Lomurukai vowed to work with the government to address the challenges facing the people.
Hawa wakora ambao tumewafukuza kutoka sehemu nyingine, tunasikia wamehamia hapa Kapedo. Ati iko shida na Dome, ati iko shida Katilia, ati iko shida na Boyetu. Hawa wakora wote mimi nataka muambie rais amesema mambo yao ni matatu.
In a span of 2 weeks, 2 other people were shot dead by bandits in the Ngaratuko area. Locals are now calling for forced disarmament to avoid more killings. Eric Matika, TV47.
Thank you, Eric Matika, for that. Now, more Kenya Forest Service officers are on the DCI radar tonight after the 23 who were called out by the president on Wednesday were shown the door. Environment CS Soipan Tuya disclosed that the officers were dismissed after the Directorate of Criminal Investigations unearthed criminal activities implicating forest rangers, community forest associations and board members.
Tonight, 23 employees of the Kenya Forest Service are out of work. Just hours after President William Ruto ordered their ouster over alleged graft.
Na nimeamrisha bodi ya KFS, hawa wote waliopatikana aidha wakizembea ama wakijihusisha na ufisadi ama wakichangia kuharibika kwa misitu yetu, wote waondolewe kazini.
The Chief Conservator of Forests has effected the immediate dismissal of 23 forest officers whose cases have been under investigations and have been found to be in gross misconduct through various acts of abetting and conniving with criminals in the destruction of our forests.
The firing of the 23 also coming hours after the release of information about the 12 stations across 3 counties of Nakuru, Kericho and Nyandarua, where cases of theft of plantations, illegal logging and charcoal burning among other matters were reported, though it remains unclear if the officers in question were involved.
Ni kazi ya mkurugenzi mkuu, the CEO, na letu ni kuhakikisha tu ya kwamba hatua kamili imechukuliwa. And the real action is the dismissal because they are in gross misconduct.
Illegal logging and charcoal burning among other matters were reported, though it remains unclear if the officers in question were involved.
As to HR policies and labor laws, of course, anyone aggrieved is free to express any infringement of their rights, including labor laws. So the individuals will be free to pursue whichever recourse they think they are entitled to.
While the probe intensifies and the identities of the officers remain under the wrap, the CS said more officers are on the radar, and once proven, they will also be shown the door. She said anyone found abetting, aiding or conning to deplete government's forest resources will face the full force of the law.
And the investigations are going on. And I just said it doesn't matter which level you are in, either a board member, a senior management member of KFS, or a junior staff, action will be taken.
The CS also highlighted the implementation of the National Landscape and Ecosystem Restoration Program towards the growth of 15 billion trees over a period of 10 years in a bid to boost the country's struggling forest cover.
We are hoping that the rains will come in a consistent fashion as we go towards realizing this target.
Mike Kagwango, TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you, Mike Kagwongo, for that. As promised, we said we'll give you the latest information as per the Kenya Airways story as soon as we have it. And we have something, and we'd like to share it with you directly. So this is a position statement from the Office of Corporate Communications of the Kenya Airways, and this is what we have so far. Now, mark you, earlier we had told you that there was an incident involving a Kenya Airways flight from Nairobi to London, Heathrow, on this day, the October 12th, and the alert was for a potential security crisis on board KQ-100, flight KQ-100 operating from Nairobi to Heathrow. We also told you that this plane was intercepted on its way to its destination in London Heathrow. For those of you who know, Heathrow is, of course, the main airport in London. But then it was diverted to another airport of Stansted, a few miles away from Heathrow, and it went there under the escort of the Royal Air Force jets. And of course, security and emergency operatives were scrambled to respond to that. That is the information that we had before. But so far, here is the latest. Number one, the alert was received by the Kenya Airways personnel at around 10:30 a.m. From the UK security agencies. The threat has since been established as it now to have been of low credibility. Third, the Kenya Airways Authority alerted the relevant operations team, including the crew on board KQ flight KQ-100. And no security incident, this is a clarification, happened during or after the flight. The aircraft landed safely at London Stansted Airport, and there's a situation they call standing down. The situation has been stood down, and the airport is now open and operating as usual. The security agencies have also cleared the aircraft, and it will be departing for London Heathrow to continue or resume with normal operations. That is the latest, and one more thing they say is that they will provide, the airport, of course, the airline apologizes to the passengers and anyone connected to KQ Flight 100 who may have been distressed. There's an apology for that, and there's an assurance that any counseling support will be provided upon receipt of that information. That's the latest we have. Should that situation change, we shall be happy to bring you up to speed. This is, of course, TV47, the home of untold stories. Thank you for once again trusting us with your information. Let's move back home to Sondu. Who's fooling who? 10 people have been arrested so far in connection to the recent clashes witnessed in Sondu area, which lies at the Kericho-Kisumu border, and they are waiting to be arraigned in court. Speaking in Parliament today, Interior CS Kithure Kindiki says that they believe that the chaos was further escalated due to some political interference. So far, more GSU police have been deployed to the area in a bid to avert more violence. Sheila Chelangat with more.
Clashes in Sondu along the Kericho-Kisumu border flared up last week, leading to the loss of 7 lives and many injuries, and tension escalated, leading to many residents fleeing their homes.
Officers who have been deployed there have been instructed to make sure that there is no recurrence of violence whatsoever again in that area.
An order by President William Ruto over the weekend as he traversed the Nyanza region to have the criminals involved arrested seems to have bore fruits, as CS Interior Kithure Kindiki briefed Parliament earlier today.
One wonders what is the connection between the boundary and somebody's cow. We have also on standby in that 2 detachments of the anti-stock theft unit. And their instructions are to be impartial, apolitical, neutral, and ruthlessly isolate, track, arrest, and punish criminals.
The Interior CS has further indicated that the Kisumu-Kericho border clashes might have been escalated by political interference.
We are suspecting that perhaps some of the local leaders could have been participating in inciting the public. The investigations are still ongoing, and as soon as we are sure that we know who the suspects are, then we can be able to know who to invite even from the political leaders, to assist us in building sustainable peace.
And in a bid to restore calm in the area, more GSU officers have been deployed, even as stakeholders believe that the police in the area should have acted differently to avert the chaos witnessed.
A few days ago, if we need more, we will deploy. If that problem is not contained by the current deployment, we will increase the numbers and the type of officers that we send there.
Relative calm continues to be witnessed in the area so far, with businesses resuming. However, the call from most is that the border dispute that has plagued the area for so long be dealt with. Sheila Chelangat for TV47 in Nairobi.
Now, Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki now says that the government has prioritized the safety and security of Kenyan officers set to be deployed to Haiti. CS Kindiki says that they have dispatched advanced teams which are set to issue a report on the state of that nation's security.
It was a date for the Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki to shed light on the controversial deployment of Kenya Police to Haiti before the National Assembly Security Committee, this coming just days after Parliament raised concern over the security of 1,000 police officers expected to participate in the mission. Kindiki defending the mission in what he says Kenyan police officers will not be used as guinea pigs. Kindiki revealed that they have dispatched a team of officers to Haiti to assess the viability of the mission, even as members questioned the safety of Kenyan police officers in the troubled nation.
Foreign Affairs Ministry and other stakeholders that are critical to give us an assessment before the necessary procedures are initiated as a basis of due diligence on the viability of this mission. Already a team has visited Haiti. It has come back. Number two.
Further, Kindiki told the Gabriel Tongoyo-led committee that the constitution will be duly followed on the Haiti mission, especially on parliament approval, insisting that Kenya will incur zero cost as the mission is fully funded by UN. However, ODM in a statement has criticized the move to send police officers in Haiti, terming it unwise and against Pan-Africanism, insisting only military can be deployed for such missions.
I want to inform the committee and the country that this being an international United Nations mission, this mission shall not cause the expenditure of any funds by the Kenyan government because it is a UN-funded mission.
Pledged to offer 1,000 police officers after Haiti appealed for international help with security personnel to assist in its battle against gangs blamed for violence and on Kenyan police preparedness. Inspector General of Police Japhet Koome, who was present before the committee, says there will be thorough training before the police officers are dispatched for the mission.
And we are going to work closer with them. Also build their capacity. A lot of training issue came up. What we are doing at the moment is identifying the officers who will go to serve in this mission. And it's very...
It is estimated over 200,000 Haitians have been displaced during escalating violence, with armed gangs carrying out indiscriminate killings, kidnappings, gang rapes and torching of people's homes. Elizabeth Mutuko, TV47, Nairobi.
Right. Now, a national constitutional referendum looms large after the National Dialogue Committee, sitting at the Bomas of Kenya, proposed the creation of a Prime Minister's slot with 2 deputies, akin to the Building Bridges Initiative, that is the BBI, under the retired President Uhuru Kenyatta. Though a full framework on the proposal contained in a report by the technical team adopted today is yet to be developed, the dialogue team says the move will expand the executive and have an inclusive government. Apollo Kamau reports.
With close to 2 weeks to go for the National Dialogue team to hand over its final report on the 2022 election outcome disputed by the opposition Azimio, the Bomas team recommendations could take the country to its third major referendum after the 2005 and 2010 plebiscites, which touched on the structure of the constitution. This is after the technical committee proposed the creation of a Prime Minister slot akin to the Building Bridges Initiative BBI and a retired President Uhuru Kenyatta, who will be assisted by 2 deputies.
But just to assure the nation that we are making tremendous positive progress in our dialogue, and we foresee us being able to conclude this process in due course.
The proposal is said to have gained concurrence during Thursday's meeting after the team adopted the technical committee report. According to the technical committee report, the Prime Minister and his 2 deputies will be presidential appointees, similar to the BBI.
We are expectant that at the end of the day, we are going to be able to reach consensus on all the issues. On all the issues, really. So we just want to appeal to the public to be patient, that ultimately this committee is going to deliver.
Proponents of the model say the addition of the Prime Minister's slot will expand the executive and promote inclusivity in government. Currently, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi is equated to a Prime Minister, given his elevated powers to coordinate government ministries, and now as a Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs. Apollo Kamau, TV47.
President William Ruto has pledged to propel cultural industries, creative economy and tourism in the border counties, including Turkana. And this, he said, while attending the Turkana Tourism and Cultural Festival in Lodwar Town, commonly known as Tobongu Lore, which brought together members of the community from South Sudan, Uganda and Ethiopia. Chichi Josephine with more.
Tobong Lore, a Turkana phrase meaning welcome home, is an annual cultural festival which comes a day after Kenyans celebrated Utamaduni Day. President William Ruto, adorned in a vibrant Turkana attire on Thursday, graced the event in Turkana County, where communities from South Sudan, Uganda, Ethiopia and Kenya were brought together. The head of state saying cultural assets will be instrumental in enhancing cohesion and stimulating economic growth, as the focus on culture will propel cultural industries, creative economy and tourism.
Culture also provides inspiration for arts and crafts and the foundation of our creative economy.
These, he noted, will expand economic opportunities for the youth, adding that the government is putting in place a framework that will protect and promote Kenya's traditions.
We have ratified the 1972 UNESCO World Heritage Convention, the 2003 UNESCO Convention on Safeguarding of Intangible Cultural Heritage.
The government, he said, is implementing a robust legislative bills, including the Culture Bill that was approved by the Cabinet last week and that is currently being developed.
Last week, the Cabinet approved the Culture Bill, while others like the Creative Economy Framework, National Kiswahili Council of Kenya Bill are currently being developed.
The festival is said to promote peace and security, this deepening regional integration and cooperation in the region. Leaders who accompanied President Ruto include Cabinet Secretaries Alfred Mutua and Aisha Jomo, Governors Jeremiah Lomarukai of Turkana, Jonathan B. of Uasin Gishu, and Muhammad Ali of Marsabit, among others. Chichi, Josephine, TV47.
Now, electricity prices will most likely not be coming down anytime soon. This is after a probe into the agreements forged between power producers and Kenya Power came up insubstantial and scantily informed. Attorney General Justin Muturi, while appearing before the Parliamentary Committee on Energy, says that despite the government directive that enforces full disclosure on any agreement reached by the government institutions, was not upheld by the power distributor, making it close to impossible for any audits or investigations to be done.
Token prices per unit have been fluctuating in the recent past, which the sole power producer, Kenya Power, had attributed to, among many other things, the consumption habits of Kenyans and power-producing companies, whose service charges trickles down to the end user. Upon inquiry by the Parliamentary Committee on Energy, the Attorney General said it was impossible to execute full investigations due to the unavailability of information detailing purchasing prices per power producer.
The Companies Act 2015 is a law in operation. It binds all those people who are doing business here in the name of companies, foreign and local. And I think it's not open to the registrar of companies to appear before Parliament to say that that was done in the past. No. That if there is any such company which has not provided names of beneficial owners, it is in violation of the applicable law.
This, he says, has curtailed efforts to have enough information to push for legal implications on the pricing of electricity.
This is a way to go to so as to unravel some of these mysteries. People cannot continue exploiting the public, and then when you want to know who they are, they are nowhere. In any event, there is a principle in companies law known as, and it's a very old one, known as the lifting of the veil.
Really, that's now another subject, but I think now things are in a better perspective.
This comes after the Ministry of Energy Cabinet Secretary Davis Chirchir in the past alluded to the unaccounted for 20% margin going to lost power in the initial stages of power production, which is pushed to the end consumer. Hibak Said for TV47.
Right, if you are joining us right now, this is the Daily Report, but we want to shift gears to something entirely different, Inside Tonight. And tonight we are talking about children of deaf adults, or CODA as it's popularly known. And to help us demystify and delve deep into this subject, we have three guests that you can see to my left. We've got Nkadziri Id, and I hope I'm pronouncing that name properly. This is the CODA Kenya president, who's an advocate for children with disabilities. We also have Purity Ndoko Kalunda, who's herself a CODA. And we have Josephine Kakoma, a founder and director of the National Deaf Women Peace. All these and so much more after the break with my lovely guests tonight. Good evening. Karibuni sana. See you after the break. The news that matters the most is the one that hits close to home. When disasters strike, we are there to inform you. When the bullets are flying, we tell you who's shooting and why. Reporting on your victories, your health, your money, your security, your past, present, and future. We are interested in telling the stories of creativity, hard work, and resilience that you are known for. That is our job. This is my job. My name is Victor Muyakane, and it's my honor to bring you this news this way every Thursday night on the home of Untold Stories.
Katika majengo haya Hapa ndipo sheria zinapotungwa na zinapopakuliwa. Nitakuletea viongozi mbalimbali, mirengo mbalimbali, wote kwa pamoja wakipika na kupakua. Tutawapa nafasi kuweza kuangazia changamoto na mafanikio ya ugatuzi katika ukumbi wa siasa kila siku ya Jumanne kuanzia saa 1 kamili na kuendelea.
Toka eneo hili la Naivasha kwenye kaunti 032, gatuzi la Nakuru.
Toka kaunti ya Elgeyo Marakwet, kaunti 028.
Nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Wajir.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Turukana.
Kwa matukio yote yanayojiri katika kaunti hii 012.
Kutoka kaunti nambari 1, kaunti ya Mombasa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Lamu.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka Kisii County.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Machakos.
Kutoka kaunti hii ya Trans Nzoia.
Kaunti 038.
Kutoka gatuzi nambari 029, kaunti ya Nandi, chemichemi ya mabingwa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Kakamega.
Itakuwa nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Bungoma.
Jina langu ni Paula Munio.
Willy Dennis Njiru.
Fabian Kibet.
Mimi ni Hashim Jimal.
Mimi ni Kitio Mika Masai.
John Javakiania.
Jina langu ni Abdulaziz Nameka.
Mimi ni Kombo Alfayo.
Jina langu ni Nicholas Mbai.
Isaac Famba.
Mimi ni Wanje Sosti.
Jina langu ni Arnold Adidi.
Jina langu ni Chris Bet.
Jina langu ni Violet.
Good evening and welcome to Insight Tonight. And tonight we want to shed some insight onto a subject that's really, really important. You know, it's amazing what happens when you peel back the layers of a matter and you get to understand what happens underneath. Have you ever wondered, for example, what happens when you've got parents that are unable to speak, parents who are deaf, and you are actually of an ability to hear? How do you navigate that conversation? How do you deal with your parents? How do you deal with the world? That's a very unique conversation that we need to have tonight. And tonight, to help me and help us understand exactly how this works, we've got 3 wonderful people with us tonight. Starting with my immediate left is Nkaziri Id. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
You look after, you wear many hats.
Yes.
In which capacity should we address you tonight?
Tonight, I'm here as the president of the Children of Deaf Adults.
CODA Kenya.
Yes, CODA Kenya.
Wonderful, wonderful. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the very person that Nkaziri actually looks after. She's the president of Children of Deaf Adults, and we have a child of a deaf adult with us tonight. Her name is Purity Ndoku. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Welcome to TV47.
Thank you.
Asante. And to also help us understand a little bit more about this subject, we've got Josephine Kakoma. Josephine is also somebody who wears many hats. And perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about what she does. Welcome, Josephine. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much. I'm Josephine Kakoma. I'm deaf, and also I'm a parent for hearing children. I'm the director, Kenya National Deaf Peace Network. This organization was founded because of my personal experience, what I went through after I became deaf. And I became deaf at the age of 18. At that time, I was in high school in Form 4. And after that, I really faced a lot of frustrations. Life really changed on my end. I was dreaming to continue with my education and maybe working in a very big organization, or to study further and get my PhD. I fly out of the countries, but my dream just got shattered. And after that, I stayed without going back to school for almost 10 good years.
Wow.
I stayed at home just watching my brothers and sisters go to school, and I stayed at home cooking and farming, taking care of the cattle. So my life just changed overnight. And later, after the 10 years, it's when I was able to go to a deaf school called Karen Institute for the Deaf, where I learned and found deaf signing, and I was like, oh, I'm in a different world. I would ask, why me? Why me? And so the deaf gave me that sign name because I was always like very sad, holding my chin.
Right.
They were like, who are you? I was wondering.
Show us that sign again, please.
Please show us that sign again. Josephine.
Oh, I see.
That means it's sad, you know. In the sign language, that is sadness. So I would always hold my chin. And all the time they will call me, why are you always doing that? So I was given that sign name. So I later understood that the school that I had joined in, I found the community I belonged to. Because with that, at least I was able to learn sign language. Within 3 months, I became a good signer.
Right.
And I was able to find communication, because by the time I became deaf at home, I became very lonely. And my parents will communicate through lip reading. At times I'll get one things out of the communication, but my brothers and sisters, none of them knows sign language.
Is that the situation even now? With your siblings and with your parents? Did that change?
No, yeah, that has changed, but by that time they didn't know. In 1986, at that time, yes.
It's a long time ago.
But now, at least I have my sister, who is also an interpreter. We can communicate with my children also, and this is one of my daughters.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. So tell me something, Josephine. Tell me about the transition from being, having to learn this new language and finding your voice again after losing your hearing. And then now you have a family. You have to communicate with your husband. You have to communicate with your children. And your children do not have the same situation as you. Talk to us about how that was for you at that time.
This experience was not easy. First of all, I felt like embarrassed. My esteem really went down. I really hated myself. I lost all my friends we were going to school with. And I stayed at times, I could just be alone. And I thought maybe I'm the only deaf person in the world. And later on, I passed through several challenges and struggles. I was to continue with my education at that time, but there was no school for the deaf adults at that time. So my father really tried to get me enrolled in schools. And later is when I found Kamboi School for the Deaf. Once I was at Kamboi School for the Deaf, at that time it was up to class 4. And imagine I was in Form 4 at that time when I became deaf. I find very young children in school, and I'm already very big. So I really felt I couldn't remain there. I went back home, and my father continued looking for more schools where I could go until we got Current Institute for the Deaf. But that is not what I had expected. It was a technical college to learn typing, but initially I really wanted to further my education and become someone bigger and better. That was not my expectation, but because of that desperation, some of the deaf persons who are very beautiful, they don't have voices, but they're very happy. So I just changed and got a lot of support, counseling, I got friendship, and I continued my education. So after that, I passed well and got my certificate, and getting back again to look for work and employment. I had learned secretarial, so I was expecting to receive phone calls.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. It was difficult even for me to invite visitors, welcome them in. It was very challenging at that time. So with that, I thought, with the many struggles and challenges that I went through, I thought it would be easier for me to form an organization of deaf women and girls where we can advocate for their rights.
Wonderful. I think honestly, unless someone has walked a mile in somebody's shoes, they can never truly understand or empathize with the challenges that they're going through. I would like to congratulate you for turning your pain, turning your struggle into something beautiful for yourself, and also into a platform that other women and other people who are going through or have gone through what you went through are able to find some support and are able to find their voice. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Now, I want to talk to you. So tell me, how is it, there's a movie that came out a number of years ago. It's called Coda. And it had a huge impact across the world, particularly in highlighting the situation that you find yourself in. Talk to us about your day-to-day. How does that look like when it comes to relating with your parents and relating with the rest of the world?
Okay, my name is Purity Nduku Kalunda. Josephine is my mom. It has not been easy, actually, while communicating to mom. But there, it was ago. But for now, I'm getting used of it because I stay with her. I've learned so much. And I've just gained on how to communicate to her, on how to express myself to her, communicating to her. Yes, I don't know much to speak sign language, but I lip read communicating to her. But when I want to reach her, I must go near her and tap her.
Okay.
So that she can face me, we communicate. So I cannot shout loudly at her if I want to express myself or tell her anything, like any other parent who is hearing. So it has been much difficult for me. I wish she can speak like any other parent, so that even in house I can shout at her when she's in the kitchen, when I'm in the sitting room. But it happens that I must go wherever she is so that I can express myself when she's doing her chores like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice. So tell me, were there any challenges, matatizo ambayo ulipitia, growing up with a mother who cannot hear you? Did you have any challenges?
Yes. Challenges, I faced many challenges, like when we are going with her somewhere, or when she took me to school. When we are at school, time for admission, or even when she came to visit, the other students could look at her when she's standing somewhere, and then she starts talking with hands, those signs. Then children, they will start speaking, cheki, angalieni huyo mama, venye anaongea, aski huyo mama ni deaf. So they end up saying deaf and dumb. So hiyo kitu inanikujia, I feel sad, I feel bad. People, maybe they talk when we are walking with the mom. Maybe kama amemwongelesha hapa nyuma, hey madam, kama watu wa matatu ama hapa tuko barabara, hey madam, maybe if they want to tell her something, but they think she has assumed, maybe they go throwing words at her na jaskia. So they start talking bad, I feel bad like that, because she's not hearing, so they think that she has just assumed. So that's reached me and I feel much pain. when they say deaf and dumb, asikii ama anajifanya aongei, mama mwenye aongei, huyo mama deaf aongeangi, but kutumia hiyo languages in mama aongeangi, asikiangi. So that thing hits me a lot. But since then I'm just there, and I'm much glad for my mom.
Do you feel like you have to protect her sometimes from the rest of the world?
Yes, I do feel that so much. But I don't know what to say. Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you. And I want us to take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about this, and we'll talk about exactly where the gaps exist and what can be done to make this better. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. The news that matters the most is the one that hits close to home. When disasters strike, we are there to inform you. When the bullets are flying, we tell you who's shooting and why. Reporting on your victories, your health, your money, your security, your past, present, and future. We are interested in telling the stories of creativity, hard work, and resilience that you are known for. That is our job. This is my job. My name is Victor Muyakane, and it's my honor to bring you this news this way every Thursday night on the home of Untold Stories.
Katika majengo haya, hapa ndipo sheria zinapotungwa na zinapopakuliwa. Nitakuletea viongozi mbalimbali, mirengo mbalimbali, wote kwa pamoja wakipika na kupakua. Tutawapa nafasi kuweza kuangazia changamoto na mafanikio ya ugatuzi katika ukumbi wa siasa kila siku ya Jumanne kuanzia saa 1 kamili na kuendelea.
Toka eneo hili la
Good evening, and if you're joining us right now, this is The Insight, and tonight on Insight we are talking about CODA, C-O-D-A, Children of Deaf Adults. We have just spoken to Mama Josephine, who's herself an activist and a promoter of the rights and privileges of people in the deaf community. We also have spoken to her daughter on her unique experience of growing up with a mother who's deaf and it being the interface between her mother and the rest of the world. But now we've got the president of this association of children of deaf adults. I want you to talk to us a little bit about this. How did you even become an association? How does this get the attention of so many people for it to become an association?
Okay, it started from very humble beginnings. And at that time, I think it was around 2009, I had just completed my high school. But we were meeting in a deaf church, children of the deaf. We were trying to explain how we feel about ourselves after high school. But one of us who had gone out of the country actually came and told us, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's something called CODA, Children of Deaf Adults, which was started in 1983 by a child of a deaf parent at Gallaudet University. And she started it actually because of the experiences they were having at the campus at that time, having faced with deaf parents.
Right.
Yes.
How big is your association? How many members?
We are happy. We got to launch our organization just the other day on the 27th of September.
Yes.
Right now, we are around 50 of us, but we can't actually state the actual data of CODAs in Kenya. We know there are very many, and that's why we're on the limelight out there to tell them that any experience that we face, we are here together as a family. We don't have to face through the same challenges that others faced, so we can actually build each other and make our esteems better.
Wonderful. They say there is strength in, there's unity and strength go hand in hand.
Sure.
There's strength in numbers. Talk to us about how coming together is helping you and other coders out there.
Okay, first of all, it's on our mental health. Because remember, as we've just heard from Purity, there are times when you grow up, there are stages of growth, and we end up being advocates of our own parents. We defend them at a very young age. We start interpreting for them even when we are below age. We get exposed to a lot of information that children should not be exposed to. So those are some of the things that if you don't survive out of it, it really gets to affect the coders. At times they end up disassociating themselves from the deaf community at large. And you'll be very surprised that not all coders actually are good in signing, because it reaches a point you get to disassociate yourself from what others say about your parents. So it is our call to all coders to just feel like you are the deaf people are a part of you. Don't be shy. The way we have other 47 tribes in Kenya, Kenyan Sign Language too is a language. Actually ours, I feel, is a bit more above than other tribes because it is in the constitution with English and Swahili.
It is, as an official language.
Yes.
Wonderful. I must say, I commend you on what you're doing. Talk to me a little bit about the mental health. Okay. What are some of the things that are actually being done to speak to this challenge that coders are feeling?
As I've just mentioned, we just launched the other day.
Okay.
But
what are your plans?
Yeah, but in the plans that we are having is, first of all, we are going to have various mentorship sessions targeting those with age groups, targeting those maybe who are below 18, teenagers, because there are various experiences that we face. And at times as a normal child or a regular child, you can speak to your parent. I'm having my menses, my breast is enlarging, but when you're having maybe a parent, you can't communicate with fluently. It's very difficult for you to do that. So on our programs, we are actually planning to have sessions whereby we mentor these girls. Yesterday being actually a girl child, we were celebrating the girl child. Yes. So first of all, I would say thank you for letting girl child in the house here today.
Girls rock. Right here at the home of Untold Stories, we elevate our women, we respect them, and we give them the space.
Thank you.
Now, I want to ask all of you one question, and it's the same question for all of you. If you had a chance to sit with those in power, if you had a chance to sit with the president, pick 3 things that you'd like to change in the way things are. And I want to start with you, and then I'll go to you, and then I'll go to Mama Josephine. What are the things you'd like to see changing, particularly now that you've launched an association and you're coming together and you're speaking in one voice?
For me, it is on 3 folds. The first one could be where I came from. I would actually urge the government, other institutions, let our parents get jobs. They have opportunities, they have skills. As you've heard our mom speaking here, some of them would really want to pursue further, but there are challenges they face. That doesn't mean they can't do anything. They're brilliant people. Give them opportunities to perform what they can do at their best. Secondly, I would also urge all the coders, children of deaf adults out there, don't shy away because your parent is deaf. It's a blessing. It's very nice being in 2 worlds. For me, I love it. Experiencing both worlds, it's something very unique. Embrace it, accept it. And thirdly, I would like to urge all Kenyans, let us embrace Kenyan Sign Language. It is part of us. The way it is now being put in the curriculum, the CBC, let us all achieve to learn sign language. Let us advocate for the bill that is in Parliament right now, advocating for it. And with that, you never know when you'll become deaf. When you know it, it's an advantage for you. You never know where you might need it. And also, when you interact with us, interact with our parents, you will not need me to come in and sort an issue. You can handle it minus me, and your life will still move on.
Fantastic. One more thing before I let you go. How can people reach you? How can people donate to your organization or funding? How can people participate in your events?
Okay, we have a Facebook page, Twitter account, on social media. You'll get us at Coda Kenya, CODA-K.
CODA-K.
Yes.
That's how they can get
Coda
that.
Kenya.
All your information, all the contact detail is there.
They're all there.
Fantastic. If you could meet the president or whoever is in charge of things, what are 3 things you'd like to see different?
I can tell him of jobs. Jobs, the first thing. to look on people with disabilities.
Okay.
Because people with disabilities here outside, it's like they are being wanekwa kando. Because they are seeing that if they are given jobs there, they are not going to do it. But for me, I can see that disability is not inability.
Right.
So everyone to be seen equal.
Jobs.
Yeah,
okay.
Equally.
Fantastic, thank you. And Mama Josephine, I want you to give Kenyans one strong message before we go.
If now happen, I meet the President of Kenya, I would have a word to him to make sure the Kenyan Sign Language Bill is approved and becomes law. Right now we have a bill in Senate in the second reading, and it shows that Kenyan Sign Language is a language everywhere. And in the last month, during the Deaf Awareness Week, our theme was a Kenya where deaf people can sign everywhere. What does that mean? It has to be integrated everywhere. It means anybody can communicate with us, not through sign language interpreters. We can access services easily. We don't have to bring an interpreter with us. And also, the service providers need to know sign language from institutions that they are learning. Let's say like the police, we might face a lot of challenges. Maybe when you meet a police person, they would like to arrest you, or maybe you've committed a crime, but they don't know how to communicate with you. And even in the area of health, to receive health services is very difficult. For a woman who is deaf and a parent, like for example, when maybe I'm expectant, going to hospital.
Services, accessing services is an issue.
So there's no communication.
I see.
So, so like maybe I don't know my body changes and the nurse doesn't know how to communicate with me. So when I get to the clinic, maybe.
Okay. All right. All right.
Maybe I get some like medication and I don't know what to expect upon delivery and how to take care of my child immediately without information.
Okay.
So if maybe those nurses could be trained, it means they have all the information.
Right, right. Thank you, thank you. Honestly, I appreciate the insights that you've shared. I apologize that we haven't got enough time.
Yeah.
But at the very least, I'm happy that we've started a conversation.
Sure.
There are people who didn't know about CODA before, now they do. There are people who would like to participate, now they know how to.
Yes.
And good people who follow TV47, the home of untold stories, and who follow Inside Tonight, I thank you for choosing us to inform you this evening, and I thank you for allowing us to bring this conversation to you. Now, the questions were mine, but the answers are yours. Take it up and do as the ladies tonight have suggested.
We
the KSL. Yeah, sorry?
I want us to all do this at least to show we are CODA.
We are
this
CODA.
This is CODA.
CODA.
Yes.
There you go. CODA. CODA.
Yes.
Am I doing it right?
Yes.
Oh, brilliant.
This is
brilliant.
CODA.
Brilliant, brilliant.
Yes.
CODA. And on that note, I say a big hello and a big goodbye to you. My name is Victor Muyakane. Up next is VAR.